There are moments in life that stay with us forever, moments so powerful that they remind us what it means to be human, to care for one another. And sometimes, those moments happen when we least expect it, like when a superstar takes a few minutes out of her busy schedule to make a difference in someone's life. Imagine this. You've been fighting an illness for what feels like forever. Your body feels weak, your energy is drained, and each day brings a new challenge. But then one day, you find yourself face to face with the person whose music has been your escape, your comfort, your hope. For one special fan, this was their reality. And that superstar? None other than Taylor Swift. But it wasn't just a quick hello or a signature on an album. No! This moment was different. Taylor Swift, in her own words, told this fan something that would change their outlook forever. Her words were simple. They weren't about fame or fortune, but about strength, hope, and the power to keep going. And in that instant, the world felt a little bit brighter, a little bit kinder. Are you ready to hear how Taylor Swift's kind words made an impact so deep it'll leave you speechless? Stay with us, because this story will make you believe in the power of empathy and love meets Sarah. A name that, at first glance, might sound ordinary, but her story? It's anything but. Sarah, like so many of us, has been a lifelong fan of Taylor Swift. Her music was more than just a soundtrack to her life. It was a companion. Whether it was a bad day of victory or a moment of self-doubt, Taylor's lyrics always seemed to have the perfect words to make Sarah feel like she wasn't alone. But life hasn't always been easy for Sarah. For the past few years, she's been battling a serious illness that's taken a heavy toll on her body and her spirit. The diagnosis? A rare condition that leaves her feeling exhausted, both physically and mentally. The doctor's appointments are frequent, the treatments are tough, and there are days when it feels like nothing will ever change. Through it all, Sarah has tried to stay strong. She has her family and friends who rally around her, but there's always a part of her that struggles to find hope on those darker days. And that's when her connection to Taylor's music became her lifeline. Sarah would listen to Taylor songs every night before bed, shake it off for a boost of confidence, begin again for a sense of renewal, and You Belong With Me whenever she needed to remind herself she was never truly alone. But what Sarah didn't know, what none of us could have expected, was that one day, this bond she felt with Taylor's music would transcend through something so much more real, more personal, an actual conversation. That conversation, when it finally happened, would change her life in ways she couldn't have imagined. So how did a simple, ordinary fan like Sarah end up meeting Taylor Swift, of all people, during such a difficult time in her life? Well, it wasn't by chance. It wasn't some typical meet and greet, or just another quick interaction before a concert. It was a moment that came from pure kindness, from the heart. The universe and Taylor Swift had something special in store for Sarah. And when those worlds collided, everything Sarah had been fighting for in her own heart started to feel just a little more possible. The day Sarah met Taylor Swift started just like any other. She woke up, took her meds, and spent the morning trying to muster up the energy to do what she needed to do. Some days, getting out of bed felt like a victory. But today, something felt different. She received an email the night before from a fan group she was part of, a community of Swifties who followed Taylor's work and had shared their own stories of hope and strength. The email was unexpected, but it held the promise of something she hadn't even dreamed of, a chance to meet Taylor herself. It seemed surreal. After all, Sarah never imagined she'd be anything more than just one of the millions who admired Taylor from afar. But there it was, an invitation to meet her at a special event. After confirming everything, Sarah couldn't believe it. She was going to meet Taylor Swift in person. Her heart raced, her mind spun. Could this really be happening? Fast forward to the day of the event. Sarah was nervous, anxious, yet filled with excitement. She didn't know exactly what to expect, but one thing was for sure. This was a moment she had been dreaming about for as long as she could remember. Taylor Swift, the woman whose songs had kept her company through countless difficult nights, was going to be standing right in front of her. When Sarah arrived at the event, there was an undeniable buzz in the air. The crowd was eager, the atmosphere charged with anticipation. And there, at the center of it all, stood Taylor Swift. She was just as graceful and kind as Sarah had imagined, her eyes filled with warmth and recognition. When Sarah finally walked up to meet her, Taylor's face lit up with a smile that made Sarah feel like she was the only person in the room. But it wasn't just a smile. It was the way Taylor looked at her. Like she truly cared, like she saw her not just as a fan, but as a person, a fellow human being who deserved to be heard. "Hi, Sarah," Taylor greeted, her voice soft and genuine. "It's so nice to meet you. I've heard a little bit about your story, and I just want to say you're incredible." Sarah was speechless. She didn't know what to say. The woman who had been her inspiration, her emotional anchor, was standing right in front of her, acknowledging her strength and resilience. It was overwhelming. She felt as if her heart might burst from the sheer kindness in Taylor's words. But it didn't stop there. Taylor wasn't just giving her the typical, "thank you for being a fan" speech. No, Taylor wanted to talk to Sarah, really talk. She sat down beside her, asked about her health, her struggles, and how she was feeling. The conversation shifted from fan to human being. Two people sharing their experiences, understanding each other on a deeply personal level. For Sarah, it felt like a weight had been lifted. The strength she had tried to find in her illness, the perseverance she had fought for in silence. Taylor validated all of it. She wasn't just telling Sarah that everything would be okay. She was telling her that she was already doing amazing, just by being herself and fighting every day. Taylor told her that sometimes it's the hardest battles that shape us into the most incredible people. "Sarah, I know this is tough," Taylor said, looking her right in the eyes. "But you are so much stronger than you realize. Keep fighting, keep believing. Your strength is something truly special, and you're already an inspiration to so many." Tears welled up in Sarah's eyes, but this time, they weren't from pain. They were from a place of love, hope, and deep gratitude. In that moment, it wasn't just about a celebrity meeting a fan. It was about two souls connecting and one person reminding the other of her inner power. Taylor's words weren't just comforting. They were life-changing. For someone like Sarah, who had been fighting an uphill battle with her health, hearing these words from a figure she admired so much was nothing short of transformative. It gave her a renewed sense of purpose, a reminder that she wasn't defined by her illness. Instead, she was defined by her strength, her heart, and the impact she could have on the world. No matter what she was going through after that emotional meeting with Taylor Swift, Sarah's life took on a new light. It wasn't like her illness suddenly disappeared, or that everything became perfect overnight. But something inside her had shifted. She felt a spark, a renewed sense of hope that had been missing for a long time. Taylor's words weren't just comforting. They were empowering. In the days that followed, Sarah found herself reflecting on their conversation over and over. "You are so much stronger than you realize," Taylor had told her. Those words stuck with her like glue, echoing in her mind at every moment when things got tough. When Sarah woke up exhausted, unable to drag herself out of bed, she thought about Taylor's encouragement. Keep fighting, keep believing. The simple act of hearing someone believe in her, especially someone as famous and admired as Taylor, gave Sarah the strength to keep going. She began to take small steps forward. On days when the pain was unbearable, she would think back to that moment when Taylor looked her in the eye and made her feel like she mattered. It wasn't just the physical fight that had become easier. It was the mental battle. Her spirits were lifted, and that made a huge difference in her journey. Sarah started documenting her journey more openly on social media, sharing the ups and downs of her fight with illness. She received messages from fans, friends, and strangers who told her that her strength was inspiring them to keep pushing through their own battles. But more than that, she noticed something incredible happening. She started to feel stronger not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. It was as though Taylor had given her permission to embrace her own power, even when the world felt uncertain. Taylor's kindness was the spark Sarah needed to stop seeing herself as someone defined by her illness, and instead, she started to see herself as someone who had the ability to overcome, to inspire, and to thrive. Sarah's story didn't just stay with her. It spread. Other fans, many of whom were also struggling with their own personal battles, began reaching out to her. They told Sarah how her story had given them hope, how hearing about Taylor's kindness and Sarah's renewed strength made them believe they, too, could find a way through their own struggles. Sarah became an inspiration in her own right, just by sharing her experience, her vulnerability, and her journey. She realized that the impact of that meeting wasn't just a personal one. It was a ripple effect. It had touched not just her life, but the lives of others who were quietly fighting their own battles, waiting for that one moment of hope to help them keep going. Taylor Swift may not have known it, but in that brief conversation, she had given Sarah more than just encouragement. She had given her the tools to rediscover her own strength. Sarah learned to carry that strength with her every day, and it made all the difference. In the months following their meeting, Sarah noticed herself pushing through her limits more than ever before. Her family noticed a change too. The spark in her eyes had returned, and the fear she once carried in her heart was slowly starting to fade. What's incredible about this whole experience is that it wasn't about grand gestures or miracles. It was about connection, compassion, and being reminded that no matter what we face, we don't have to go through it alone. Sometimes, a simple conversation can change everything. Sarah's story didn't just end with her meeting Taylor Swift. It became a beacon of hope for others. And it's all because one person took a moment out of their day to be kind, to be present, and to make someone feel seen. Taylor's words didn't just comfort Sarah. They gave her the strength to rise above it all, inspiring not just herself, but a whole community in the process. What an incredible reminder of the power of kindness, right? Taylor Swift's simple yet profound words changed Sarah's life in ways she could have never imagined. It's moments like these that show us how much impact one person can have on another, and how empathy, even in small doses, can spark a fire of hope in someone's heart. So, what do you think? Isn't it amazing how something as simple as a kind conversation can make such a difference? Do you have a moment in your life when a small act of kindness turned everything around for you? Share your story with us in the comments below. I'd love to hear how kindness has made an impact on your journey. And hey, if this story inspired you or brought a smile to your face, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more heartwarming stories like this one. We all need a little positivity in our lives, and trust me, we've got more uplifting stories coming your way. Before we go, remember this. No matter what you're going through, you're stronger than you realize. Just like Sarah, you have the power to keep going, to rise above, and to inspire others along the way. So, never give up. You never know who's watching your journey and how your story might light the way for someone else. Thank you so much for watching. Stay kind, stay strong, and I'll see you in the next video.